Hey folks, welcome to GiantBomb.com. I'm Ryan Davis, and I'm very excited to welcome a special guest here to the couch, Mr. Nolan North, the voice of Nathan Drake from Uncharted 3, the entire Uncharted series.
Yes.
Nolan, how the hell are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic.
Patrick Klepek is also here.
I'm just hanging out.
To have my back in case I get overly freaked out trying to come up with good questions to ask Nolan here today.
Yeah, in case things go wrong, we got Patrick here to.
Yeah, no, he's my backup. He's my man here. So
you were here to kind of talk about a book.
Yeah.
Drake's Journal.
Wow.
Let's get into it.
Let's just do it right off the bat.
Let's dig into it.
Boy, you guys are just as subtle as you can be.
Exactly.
This is the internet, man. This is what we've got
It's fantastic.
here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is interesting stuff. Now, I mean, you are, let's say, probably the most recognizable voice actor in games right now.
It seems that way. So
like
far,
as far as people that know your face and know your name and are able to kind of pick you out.
named after you.
Yes,
There
more
are-
than one award.
Apparently,
now,
more than one
Competing
award
categories.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, like, I you're always like, oh, it's an honor to be nominated. It's like, nah, screw nominated. I want to be my own category, and that's.
I like that you've embraced it.
Yeah, well, it's like I decided, why not? I mean, if that's the way it's going to be, like I said, my dad asked me the first time I told him about the Northeast, and he said, did you win? He didn't quite get it, so we put him down.
But you've had this this kind of exposure and also just the the recognizability and the attachment to the Nathan Drake character.
Yeah.
And so you've kind of distilled some of that experience of basically you were embedded at Naughty Dog, kind of during the process of developing Uncharted 3.
Well, it's different than other games I work on. As you know, I do work on a number of games. And
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I just no. And the cool thing is, it's but with Uncharted, it's 16 to 18 months of in the motion capture suit, rehearsals. I'm even involved in the casting as for the second one and the third one. Mm-hmm. And it just came about. I've always asked these questions: how's it made? How's it done? And at one point, I finally got really embarrassed over the fact that I didn't know what happened after I finished. And
you
I
were
told
in the big
people,
warehouse space. You had the ping pong
Exactly.
balls on.
Yeah,
you did your
and-
acting.
Exactly.
And then the game exists. And
Well,
where's that process in between?
It was Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Yeah.
You don't know how the chocolate's made, but you eat it.
I've met some of the Oompa Loompas. I can confirm that.
They're nice people.
Yeah,
Yes.
it definitely the analogy sticks.
Yeah, they are nice people. I had one problem with one.
Well, we don't need catharsis
and that's
here
where
today.
the kick you to sleep line came in, because that's what happened. I didn't kick him. Yes, I did. No, so the impetus behind doing this was just to, these people are my friends,
Yeah.
and the idea was like, let's give them, it sounds a little hokey, but let's give credit where credit's due. Let's show people what goes into making this game, not just the technical aspects, but
Sure.
the funny stories and the fun stuff that they have that goes in. We followed it for a full year, and it really gives you some of the personalities behind who make the game, and also all the the hijinks that go on on the stage.
Well, I think there's real value in that, just because even for the amount of coverage and exposure that the people behind games get, it's very often very high level. It's people like Amy Hennig who obviously works her ass off on the game, but that's a much different position than there's modelers and animators. There's the folks that are kind of in the trenches that are the glue for these games, and people are always asking us. We don't we get glimpses of it being on our side of the industry, but we've never done that job.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard for us to even talk about it, because it's like, well, I know kind of what they do, but you're actually in there seeing it kind of happen.
Absolutely.
And it's much easier to have that access when you're you're on set actually dealing with these people.
Yeah, and I will say the one downside to the book is we had to come up with a certain amount of pages to make it cost prohibitive. I mean, printing and doing all that stuff. So 128 pages is we crammed as much as we could do. I mean, there's over 1,000 high-res images. We have 19 QR codes that link to over 50 videos. And interesting thing about it is the QR codes will actually change beginning of the year in January. We're going to switch them out, and then beginning of February. So every month through 2012, it becomes a new experience. You'll be able to hit the QR code, and you'll see some stuff that we took My business partner is my brother-in-law, and Rob did a lot of the photography, and he took a lot of the video. And quite frankly, he laughs because he says, "You don't even know some of the videos I took." So some of them could be.
Have you checked page 97? You shouldn't check page 97.
There are potentially videos that could have social services knocking down my door, taking my children away, because sometimes
This might be one of those videos. Just gonna lay that out there right now.
This could be. I'm in a basement
Send help.
in San Francisco. Please send help. No, it was a labor of love. It was a labor for sure. It was probably one of the hardest things I've done, because you want to give people as much. You want to do the due diligence on something like this, and 128 pages isn't enough to tell all the stories.
Right.
But
But it is just one man's perspective, you know. It's
yeah, and I just thought, coming from my perspective, the guy who always gets to come and talk to guys like you, and they're doing all the interviews and the media, you know, just throw it back to the people at Naughty Dog, because Christoph and Evan, you know, the co-presidents at Naughty Dog, have created this culture there that is unlike anything I've ever seen, and that culture of collaboration and real creative spirit spilled over to the motion capture stage, and that's what we do. And when I got to see how both sides work the same at very different jobs, it was really interesting. So, you know, yeah, we're really proud of it. And we also got this. This is the
hardcover.
Hardcover collector's edition. We're going to do this. We only printed 500 of those. We literally got those yesterday, and
Hot off the press.
hot off the press. Yeah. So I'm gonna sign them, one of 500. I may even have them take a picture, and we'll glue it in there so it's like your certificate of authenticity. Just be me with a Sharpie.
You thumbs up. Hey, it's me.
I think that might be kind of cool. So people are like, oh, he really did sign it. You know, not just like some stamp or some.
So these are $19.99 for the regular non.
Yeah,
hardcover.
Amazon.com carries the
.com, you say. Good to know.
Yes. Yeah. And Amazon.org.
Got it.
.net. .edu.
Yes.
Keep going.
I
How
think,
What else
far
you got?
can you
We'll let you
go?
keep going,
I
man.
think this is the new
.tv,
XXX one.
.co.uk.
Yeah.
That's under embargo. We can't talk about that one. Come on, Nolan.
It's 1999, I guess.
Yeah.
1999, 1995. I don't know if it's.
That's
if
the
I'm
worst
wrong.
in, there,
You know
in that
what?
range.
If it's in the 4-cent range.
Nolan North will make up the difference for you.
Yes.
that
will.
will be in your collector's edition out of his
Yes.
pocket.
Yes, exactly. Or I'll sign just the N in my first name, like Zorro, just N. No, it's that's available at Amazon.com. The collector's edition will be at Gamespheres.com, which is our company, and we'll be handling all that. And we're going to ship anywhere, and anywhere in the world, and for that edition. And we also are excited to we announced it on a Twitter, but we have an app for the iPad coming out.
And a lot of this content will be accessible through that, correct?
Oh yeah, all of it will be.
Fantastic.
So you just be able to touch the videos instead of having a QR code and go to a website.
Exactly. It, you know, we always wanted a digital version, and the app will be offered about $3.99, something like that. I think we decided on, and but that's in the Apple factory right now. Just
waiting to go
working.
through.
It'll be on iTunes eventually. We'll tweet that. We'll probably contact you guys to let all your viewers know, and just yeah, we're excited about it. You know, it's and you know, we're gonna get it out to different languages. Or it's gonna eventually will be in French and Italian, and German and Spanish, and so people will be able to enjoy it. We hope. I'm still going through learning German through Rosetta Stone and Italian because I don't want to
So it
pay
might not
someone
be
else
the
to do it.
best German, but
It might not.
There'll be German-ish.
I might just write it in English, but
Yeah.
do it like Dr. Richthofen
Yeah.
from Call of
But the
Duty.
umlauts just
Yeah, and say,
find and
Achtung,
replace.
That
this
makes
is
it
where
German.
Drake jumps and climbs. And then he shoots some people.
So book on tape version of Drake's Journal.
You know
comes
what? If
soon.
there weren't so many pictures, it'd be a book on tape. But I think it's like there's a picture of Nate jumping. Here's Sully
There you go.
on his
You
cigar.
describing. It's like I'm standing here and it's got the suit on.
Exactly. So actually, somebody contacted me. So I'm blind,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted a version where an audio version, and I wrote back to him saying. I felt bad. Like it's a little visual, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not. I mean, it would bore you to tears. But I thought to myself, it'd be really cool one day just to grab a machine and just say, okay, now there's a picture of Drake, and he's
go through the process.
jumping through the thing, and this is what happens.
Oh, it's so awesome.
But hopefully that person will be able to, on his giant bomb, and he's listening to this now, and
We'll give him
God
something.
bless
Yeah.
you for playing. It's
Do you find that having gone through this book, seeing more of the process, does that impact at all your performance now that you have a better understanding of what those people are doing, or is it more that it's more gratifying just to know kind of what happens when you're done?
You know, it's. I don't think it's going to do anything to necessarily my performance. That's yes and no. Having learned what they do, it does make it easier to understand. One thing that people love about Uncharted is the seamlessness of cinematics to gameplay. And is that if the actors and Richard McGonigal as Sully and Emily, these actors we've done it now. If you understand what they need, the positions you need to get in, so they don't have to animate to move the character to here. If you all know where you're going, like where that gameplay is going to begin and where that starts. If we know that, you can find ways to make it transition better.
I imagine it's its own kind of craft, separate from they always say theater is different from movies, different from television, and it's I imagine different from just regular voice work versus kind of this performance capture.
There's different.
Is there another format that you feel the motion capture most resembles?
It's theater.
Yeah.
It's most like theater, which is and someone was saying it's the purest form of acting that there is. I mean, it's just because
The man who invented the motion capture suit.
yeah. Well, one of my big heroes is Andy Serkis, who Gollum, and he told a story about people said, "Oh, I love you as the voice of Gollum." He says, "No, madam, I am Gollum," and it's like this with Drake. I am him. I mean, we joke about it. Other than the ability to climb like that, it's the personality. It's a sense of humor.
So you can take a gunshot pretty well then.
Oh God, yes. I've taken
Intern!
Bring that in. Yeah.
Bring him on. Just know that once the bullet deflects, I will break his neck.
Intern!
That's why we have
Intern.
multiple interns.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's
okay. Well,
run right through 'em.
They're like little baby birds.
But yeah,
So
like
easy.
Serkis in last year's Enslaved, that was another one where it was a lot of that same motion capture, and that really came through. You could tell that someone with craft was behind that.
But the process is so new that I think people just don't have a real grasp. It doesn't happen in every game, and it's not always good in every game. So I think it's kind of this. You're seeing a movie like Serkis was in, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. They're trying to push him for an Oscar for that
Right.
now. But I think it's getting people to wrap their head around it not being a real person. You know what I mean? Like they can kind of see it under the layers, but that is sort of a hard thing for people to get their head around.
But what Andy said brilliantly was that he said, what I do is acting like any other actor in a film or a television show, but I wear digital makeup.
Right.
And because he is brilliant as Caesar, you can't make that movie without him.
No.
You can't. You just can't. And the thing that people need to understand, and one of the reasons I really worked hard on this book is for gamers. We specifically didn't want to try to sell this at the big retail stores and Barnes & Noble and Targets and things like that, because we wanted to specifically go to gamers. This is for gamers. This is
dive
for people.
deep. You don't want to try and go soft and high level.
You go to a big retailer and they're going to stick it on a shelf in the back,
Right.
And they're not sure where it goes.
Is it with game guides? I don't know what is this thing.
then this is something for people, and gamers are smart and they're savvy and they want a better and better experience.
they don't want to get talked down to. Like they.
Yeah, but you look at the games this year. There's some amazing games this year. I mean, Uncharted notwithstanding.
Uncharted. There's Batman: Arkham City. There's
could go back and
X-Men:
buy.
Destiny. There's Portal 2.
Skyrim was brilliant.
Yes.
The Modern Warfares, the Battlefields. They're all so good. And if you go back 5 years to the best 5 games, the worst game this year might not 5. That would be unfair. Let's go 15.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Sure.
But the games just keep getting better.
Even the worst games are getting better than they were in the past.
And the thing is, and that's a testament to gamers pushing the industry, saying, "Hey, we want more. We want to do, we We want more from our experience. And this is just to say, hey, this is how they're doing it.
So how has the process evolved specifically with regards to the Uncharted series for you? I mean, you've been there since the start.
This one, the third game, Drake's Deception, was much more, I think, experiential. One of the things that we talk about in the book was, I talked to the QA and manager and the testers about. Said, how did the big challenge was that Lost in the Desert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And one of the big concerns that Naughty Dog has, like, are people gonna get pissed off that
because they don't know where
all
they're
you're
going,
doing,
right?
you don't know where to go. There's no shooting. You're not looking for treasure. Like, what the hell are you supposed to do? Well, they went to testing, and the only feedback they really got was people wanted it to be longer.
It's
Because it's never been done something like that, and it's supposed to experiential wise. You're supposed to experience what this feeling of like, what am I? And the feedback they've gotten is just people saying, "My God, that's just I loved it," because you can go anywhere, and if you don't keep moving that joystick, he goes down.
Yeah.
And we mocapped all those walks and the different levels of just exhaustion, and I'm back
So
and
you
forth.
didn't
on
drink
that.
water for days.
No,
would
I didn't.
imagine.
I drank my own urine.
No one asked you to do that.
I went, no. Before we started the interview, I drank my own urine.
knock it back. Sterile. Why not?
Yeah, and I should have saved you some.
Well, hey.
But
I'm sure
it's a confident and kind of ballsy moment. Like we actually talked about this on our podcast recently about kind of in a game that has so many huge set piece moments. It's kind of dominated by those the willingness and just knowing that we can have this quiet
the
moment,
total opposite.
this time where you really aren't doing anything, and using that to convey this true stranded sensation and how effective that is. That second time that you come back to the well, just you hear it in Drake, but also as the player you feel that like, oh man, that was like that passage of time and all that really comes through, and it's
and to get to your question, when we were doing that, we realized that like, okay, you're coming to this well, it's the second time, we really talked about it, like, okay, so you really get it in your head going, now how would I go up to that? Now it's just sandbags and we took a rope that made it look like a well, so I don't go into that's where the animators are going to build the hole, and you kind of just go up to that thing, and there was just more time was given to those moments because we knew they would be really important, and I think it shows. It was a difficult. I think Uncharted 3 was probably one of the most difficult projects to do because there's such huge expectation. After Uncharted 2, people are like, well, how are they going to top themselves? It's like, well, it's going to be hard to top. That was a great game, but we can, it'll be another adventure. It's sometimes it's funny. You don't ask films to top themselves. You don't say, oh, well, Raiders of the Temple of Doom better be better. It's like, can I just go on another romp?
Right.
It's like I just have to spend more time with these characters.
Yeah, and I thought it was really fun, indicative in some of the reviews for this particular game. And again, I do a lot of games, and I don't really. I'm very close to this. It's close to my heart. These people are very dear friends of mine, but I'm friends with a lot of different developers. If you looked at some of the reviews, I think somebody gave it like a 5 out of 10, and it was like, look, even if you don't like the game, it's nowhere on this planet is it a 5. Seriously.
Nolan
a 5.
is calling you out.
I'm sorry. I don't know who exactly that was.
Notice.
But when you see things like that, that's just somebody trying to be contrarian. You can go to. Look. I don't know the whole how the system works and the ratings and all that stuff. And, it doesn't have to be a 10, a 9, an 8 even, but a 5. Pac-Man wasn't a 5.
Well, the thing that I think it's an interesting perspective. It's again something we talk about a lot because since we're in the business of reviewing and we interact with a lot of developers, it's a lot of people can pour. A lot of very talented people can pour a lot of really great work into shit games. I'm not saying Uncharted,
absolutely.
but I'm saying it's easy to see that perspective from the developer side of Like I spent 2.5 years of my life working on this game,
Yeah.
and it got 5s, or it got 3s, or it got worse than that. It did not get the high scores that we were hoping for.
Exactly.
And it's it's kind of that harsh reality of like, well, it's not always going to be everything for everyone, and it's hard to tell if that's going to pan out. And when you've been so close to it for so long, and it's also not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily factor in, nor should it necessarily factor into the review process of, well, gosh, these guys were really nice, and they worked hard on it, so we'll give them a little extra bump. It's
Absolutely.
like you kind of got to think, this kid paid $60 for it. He gets 1 or 2 games a year from his parents. Like if it's not, if it doesn't pay off.
Listen, I agree with that, but
Yeah.
I mean, but there's just, and maybe there's some games out there that like, wow, this is just not worth your money. But if I didn't know what Uncharted was, and I just read this thing and I'm buying something for my kid and I say that's 5, he says that's terrible, and it's like no, this is not a 5. And I mean, and I do have a people say you don't have a dog in the fight. I have several dogs in the fight. Like people say, who do you want to win the game of the year? I'm like, oh my God, don't ask me that. It's
Yeah.
like. And I'm not. I've said this before. I'm not a gamer because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
But I'm a fan of the gaming industry, and I think we're still in the infancy. I think there's going to be some amazing things coming out.
I want to ask you one more question here about the book. I was flipping through this
Sure.
here, and I noticed that there's a little bit in there of you working with the child actor who plays
Yeah.
young Drake.
Yeah.
Without ruining the book itself, was there any specific advice or kind of coaching that you wanted to convey to him of how you felt this young orphaned Drake should, like the physicality of it, or the voice performance, or I guess the voice was you?
No, he did the voice. I mean,
did he?
Yeah, he's the voice of young Drake.
Because I totally assumed that they had just pitched you up.
Oh no, that's him. That's Billy.
That's
yeah, no,
really impressive.
No,
man. That's good casting.
Yes, and I was there with the casting. We did it all, and he actually did scenes with the casting scene was the scene where they first have Sully gives him food.
Yeah.
And they sit there and talk at that table. That was the scene. Amy Hennig asked me to come and be at all the casting sessions, and also the days for motion capture. Even if I wasn't obviously I wasn't in scenes with him, but I would be there. But they also use me. We also double up as other characters. In fact, it's actually funny, and it is in the book. But the agent who raises the gun is about to shoot young Drake is me.
Oh wow!
And in fact, it's
no.
the only other character in the game where that's my voice too. I actually did the British Asian talks like this. It's kind of like
It's just changed my whole perspective on that game.
Yeah, it
seems way more intense.
I think I bastardized like an old Michael Caine type, like, just close your eyes, that kind of thing, before Sully shoots me. And there's a funny story about what happened after he shot me in the motion capture that I almost got knocked out. So just, you can read about it. But in that scene as the agent. No, he was fantastic. And I was there. Amy had me there almost like in a consultant way. So I would sit on the side and watch him, and like if there's something that he did that wouldn't be my reaction, or something like that, I had a certain say in that. Like say, hey, do this. But to be perfectly honest, Billy Unger was great. I mean, he's a really talented kid. You're going to hear about this kid as he grows. He's a really good actor, and his instincts were on. I mean, he walked in and he started doing we had a lot of great people read for that role, and he just came in and he just kind of lit up the room, and it was like, oh my God, that's Drake. That's Drake. And I remember McGonagall, Richard looked at me and he said, he's like you. he said without all the horrible language.
Give it time. Give it time.
Oh yeah, no, and he told me. He said, yeah, I got to teach. His father came up to me after and he said, thank you for teaching him the things that I didn't want him to know, but I knew he had to learn.
So at least he learned it from you.
Yeah, he learned it from me. No, he was great. And the funny thing about him, and this is in the book too, he went from this to this.
Oh,
he pitched a couple octaves.
How old was he when he was doing his part?
He was about that age.
So I guess,
about
I guess
14,
teens,
15.
yeah.
He
was
it can just
14,
pop off.
15, and right and
So is he like hobbled down on his knees halfway through
he
trying to
sprouted
maintain
down.
his height?
They actually Josh Scher, the game designers. He actually cinematic game designer. He apparently had to
Lop off?
They had to
part of
work on
legs?
No. We can always pitch people down on the mocap, but the thing about it was it was the voice. It changed. In the
Oh,
middle
right.
Of it. You know, and he grew taller, but you can mess with the size. But the voice, you know, I think they had to go back and have him redo lines, and so the voice would be consistent.
Oh wow.
Oh, so maybe
Yeah.
like having to go back and like do the earlier lines because the later lines would have changed. Wow.
But I should have lied. I should have said yes. It was my voice. I do a younger. We didn't even pitch it. It was my voice all the way because I can do that.
I can do kids parties. I can do.
I just assumed.
I do. I have a whole clown suit.
So
can juggle.
Never will, but you
Again,
can
obviously, you know, your involvement in the development of the Uncharted series goes above and beyond usual voice actor involvement in a
Yeah.
or not just voice acting, you know, performance.
And also involved
like
in the
this.
production to somewhat, you know, doing the casting. Like it's kind of like you see in
Well,
TV shows where some actors come in and.
But compare that to just popping in to the voice booth. That said, out of 2011, were there any other performances that you did or characters that you got to do in games that you particularly enjoyed or were noteworthy to you? Or
I
mean, Portal 2 is
Portal
it's a
2
fan favorite.
was awesome. I mean, it was a lot of that stuff was not ad libbed. I mean, it was written, but it was just like they said. I said, "What is it?" Because there weren't even. I don't even think there was punctuation. It was just sort of like this stream of consciousness. And they said, "Just go nuts with it." And I said, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yeah." And in space, doing the space, in the big adventure sphere.
We had the pleasure of I actually got to go up to Valve right before the game came out.
Oh,
and
really?
talk to the Rise, talk to Eric and Chet about the process.
They were great.
And they spoke highly of you. So
You know, the funny thing is, we did that early, and then they went and made the game, and then people started saying, "Oh, you were great in Portal 2," and I literally was like, I don't think I did that game. And they're like, "No, it's you," and I'm like, "No, I'm not really sure," and they're like, "Space, gotta go to space," and I just burst out laughing. I'm like, "That's that game," because I had seen ads for it, billboards, and it just. And it may have been because a lot of times developers will use like a code name,
Right, try and keep it under wraps.
and
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it was Portal. I think it.
No,
Actually,
they definitely did use a code name.
I think it was. I think it was just the Valve project.
Something like that.
And
yeah.
when somebody said, "Oh my gosh," I mean, and I remembered it all. And
Well,
then
and no one else knew either,
turrets, the defective
Yep.
turrets we did.
I didn't know until I saw the credits rolling. It was Nolan North. I'm like, what the shit are you talking about?
Yeah, but see, that was great because a lot of people, because there were a few games where. That came out at the same time, like the first Uncharted and the first Assassins.
Yeah.
But then Prince of Persia that year, and the
Nolan Northathon.
that was the year that birthed
Northeast
the
came out?
Northeast, where we kind of realized,
Yeah.
hey, Nolan North's kind of doing some work here.
But there was because there was also
the
with the
thing was-
jetpack.
Dark Void.
Yeah.
Dark Void.
But there was a lot of those characters, a lot of those performances. You could call Drake-esque, whereas I feel like we
Exactly,
started to
yeah.
see a lot more like the doing Cobblepot, doing
And that's the other one.
spheres.
I mean, doing the Penguin and Cobblepot was fantastic, And the only thing I tease people, I say, that everyone says, well, I didn't like his Cockney. It's like, listen, there were Brits in the room, and trust me, something fixed, they had. I mean, some of my British friends were up for that role, and they were
Yeah.
just, like.
They
They had to
cursing you.
they cursed me, but then they had to take me out for beer because they'd lost the bet. I said no. But I really I love Rocksteady. I
Yeah.
mean, those guys are great.
Yeah.
And I think they put out a great project and great product, and it was a great project to work on. And that's what we do voiceover for. I mean, the animated shows I do, you want to stretch it. Everybody gets to be a character actor. You get to do this stuff and have fun with it. And doing Cobblepot, doing the spheres. I think it was actually kind of unfortunate that, Dark Void and Prince of Persia and Uncharted and Assassins were all in that
all
one year.
kind of came out at the
because
same
it
time,
kind of
yeah.
came out and they were similar. And then, and then, of course, that flip of that is people say, oh, well, he can do this. It's like, yeah, we always could. It was just timing. It was
Right.
just, a lot of things in life are timing. And that was just a bad timing. And I think some of the games got unfairly judged because of that. But as far as I always like to point out that as far as Prince of Persia is concerned, my friend Yuri Lowenthal did the first one.
Yeah.
And then Robin Atkin Downes, my friend, did the second one.
Right.
Then Yuri Lowenthal did the third one.
Oh, really?
And then I did the next one.
Right.
And
You
then
wanna
they
be
went
Prince of
back to
Persia,
Yuri
just be
Lowenthal for the
friends with
fifth
you.
one. Yuri Lowenthal, in the gaming world, is the Prince of Persia. He's a better Prince of Persia than the Gyllenhaal guy from the movie. So
that guy.
yeah, and Yuri Lowenthal, he's if you don't know who he is, you should. He actually has a great book out on becoming a voice actor. He and his wife wrote this great book. And anybody who wants to get into voice acting, you should look up for Yuri Lowenthal.
Do you have
book.
any advice? Because it does seem like it's a specific
growing market, yeah.
well, it's
Yeah,
growing,
yeah.
but it's also specific. And we do see you're not. I just don't want to build you up too much here, Nolan. But
No, please don't.
You're recognizable. You're fabulous. You're very handsome. Your voice is silky smooth.
Silky
You're
smooth?
much taller in person than I even expected.
A lot of people say that.
But there are still
Don't be shy.
there are still a core group of voice actors that you kind of see popping up. That it's like, oh well, this guy doesn't. You never see this guy on camera, but Frank Welker is everywhere.
Frank Welker's a genius. Frank
Yeah.
Welker's like a personal hero.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how many games he still does, but I do a Transformers cartoon with him.
Yep.
Yeah. No, Frank's phenomenal. Frank can do anything.
Yeah.
No, there's in the gaming world, I mean, there's really standby people like Troy Baker is an up and coming guy,
Right.
Who's a great guy, great actor, very talented, very diverse. Like I said, Yuri Lowenthal, but Fred Tatasciore. A lot of people don't even know who that is. He does the animation or anything. He does the Hulk.
Okay.
My buddy Steve Bloom. I mean, he's the greatest Wolverine ever, and he's done so many great voices and so many. He's so talented, and I mean, I can go on for Jennifer Hale.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jennifer Hale,
you
obviously.
can go on forever with the people who are involved in this industry.
So any advice then for
Oh,
those
God.
because it does seem like there is kind of this group that
You know what? Here's the thing.
That works.
People told me, said, "Oh, voiceover is great to get into, but it's really hard to get into. But once you're in, it's like a club." They were right. I mean,
It does seem like it doesn't like
how do
everybody
you get
knows
into
everybody.
how do you get into the club? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
'Cause
know.
you had
because
done-
I didn't even know I was in the club until like
Someone handed
Phil
you a
Lamar.
card.
Phil Lamar, buddy.
well, yeah, Phil Lamar, that's secretary of the club right there.
Phil Lamar is just Gina. One day, and I just said that. I said, "Oh man, if I could just work like you guys." And he looked at me and said, "What are you talking about? You're in everything." He said, and I'm like, "What?" And he goes, and it just then it kind of I hadn't even thought about it because you just, you spend so long in this industry trying to just. I have a wife and kids. You just try to go and do your best and always trying to get better and then one day you just realize, hey, wait,
You did it.
Oh, so what now? What?
Yeah.
Okay, next thing. No, you just want to keep getting better, and you want to, do more interesting projects and do things, and that's why, one of the things about the Drake's Journal, the book that came about, is the business model isn't just to do this book and see ya. The business model is like if people enjoy this, and waiting to see what the feedback will be like. It's then to like possibly go to Warner Brothers and Rocksteady and say, let's show people how Rocksteady works.
Right.
Go to Ubisoft. Let's show people how Assassin's Creed. Go to Treyarch, Infinity Ward.
We want to
whatever.
follow you around. Forget
But
you
this would
can
be-
follow them, and then we will follow you because we want to see what the day in the life of Nolan North looks like.
Oh well, that's like when I'm working or when I'm at home trying to
well, the
Either
sober
way.
days. Let's call them.
the what days?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
what days?
The sober days.
The sober days. No, there are very few sober days. I'm absolutely hammered right
Yeah,
now.
fantastic. No, it's taking it in
Seriously,
stride.
I don't even know who you people are or where I am. I'm assuming I'm going to wake up.
Someone's
got the
supposed to
handler,
save
he just-
us,
he
not
wheels-
save you. We
Yeah.
haven't just,
Yes. I soiled
we're in your
myself.
basement.
I actually soiled myself about 10 minutes ago. So.
And I was afraid I was going to be the one who's going to soil himself. So I guess Alex, you owe me $10. on
No,
that
if you
bet, so.
rewind the tape 10 minutes back, you'll see.
There
You'll
was a
see
there was,
me-
there was,
sigh.
there was like
You'll
a
see me
sigh,
kinda-
an itch.
It's actually kind of like it's
little-
kind of like a little. It's like Nate takes a short punch to the ribs, like.
you forgot something. Like, what was I going to do?
Oh, I was gonna get up.
Actually, I would
Didn't
do
do
it.
that.
I would do what my 2-year-old used to do when he was 2. Sorry, kid. Where he goes behind the couch and just say, That's what he.
I want to write down that move.
Like, what are you doing? Nothing. It was great. That's gonna be a character coming to a video game soon. Little
2-year-old
boy,
pooping
little
behind
boy,
the couch.
2-year-old pooping behind the couch. That's gonna be. That's where my inspiration comes from.
All right.
Real
So
life.
it's an iOS
Everyone's
game
got
coming
something.
soon.
Yeah, just-
iOS.
You just push the baby and
And then he shits behind the couch. There you go.
Exactly.
Just got to get that through
we're gonna have to
certification.
delete that because we're gonna trademark that.
So we're closing out 2011 here.
Yep.
And obviously this year's Northies are coming up.
Oh.
We're gonna have our heated debates about who's gonna win.
It's gonna be a tough year this year.
Do you have a personal favorite? Who do you think should take it?
I you know what I just it's gonna be tough.
It's an honor to be nominated.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be nominated.
There we go.
No, it's an honor to be a category. I don't know how to.
Or several categories.
Or
as it's
several.
turning out.
Please, adults are talking. I would say. I don't know. I mean, what sphere and portal do you like? The space? Do you go fact? Do you like what about defective turret? I mean,
Yeah.
who gets nominated or not? I can tell you this. The thing about Northies that most people don't realize is, in one category, I lose more than I win. Nobody ever
Really a
looks at it.
tragedy.
It's true.
It's
That's
really,
true.
it's really. I mean, I do not celebrate the Northie as much as you think I would. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, you won, and I lost
you
4
lost, yeah.
times.
But yeah, every other performance
Lost.
Lost.
So it's like, wow. So it takes a lot of drinking and time to get over.
Fair enough. Well, we'll send you a bottle of Buffalo Trace
Yeah.
to kind of
Calm
soften
your
the blow
nerves.
some.
I've never received any award of any kind. I don't know what.
We'll have to figure out what a physical Northie
I thought there
looks
might
like.
be a bomb or like a big N or something like a bomb of the.
All these wouldn't make it through the mail.
That's true.
Yeah, that's one of the
So you'd
factors
send
of being
me
called Giant Bomb.
Send me an N, I'd be like, send me a Z. That makes no sense.
Gotta turn it.
Oh.
All right, Nolan. I don't want to take up too much more of your time here. It's
Please
been
don't.
an absolute pleasure getting to sit here and chat with you. Patrick, do you have any other? I know we could sit here and talk to you forever.
Not for this
but
asshole.
We've had our
let's just move
fill.
on.
That just happened.
Uncharted Drake's Journal available on Amazon.com. I'm told.
Yes.
For either 1995 or 1999. So
It's a price.
The 4-cent
yeah,
thing.
it is a price. It costs dollars.
Keep your eye out for the app on iTunes
Yeah.
eventually. And again, the hardback collector's edition first run will be at gamespheres.com. It's all very confusing, but it's worth it. It really
Google
is.
search.
And
search.
Yeah.
you know, and I actually threw this out there one time. If any one person buys like 15 to 20,000 of them,
Yeah.
I will send you one free.
Fantastic.
Man.
So order in bulk. If you happen to
Merry
order-
Christmas, everybody.
If you happen to be Costco,
Yeah.
give Nolan a call.
Order in bulk, maybe a university.
Yeah.
You know,
Got to figure out how to
because-
get into Library of Congress. That's the.
Is
that's the
15,000?
real
Can I
key.
even type that in Amazon?
Could you,
Yeah.
could
I'm
you
gonna
even
find-
like?
I'm gonna
You have
find out.
to, sit there and hit the plus button over and over again. That might take a while.
and shipping will be a bitch. Just
So
so
I've
you
got
know.
Prime. I've got Amazon
Just so you
Prime,
know.
so it's
So, yeah.
it's cool. They're going to
Shipping
eat it on
bulk.
that shipping.
Yes, exactly.
Nolan North, thank you so much
Thank you,
for your
bud.
time.
Appreciate it. You too.
That's all right.
And
Wow, his hands are cold.
see you
What
guys
does that tell you?
at the
I don't
Northeast.
even know.